name is Alex. I'm the Recreation Director for the City of Shaker Heights. Today I will be making banana muffins. It's a banana bread, but you can make it as muffins or you can make it as a loaf. I'm choosing to make it as muffins. This is a very easy recipe. Cooking is a very fun and creative way to stay active and engaged. And I think one thing that's important for me is that when we cook and we prepare and create something, we really truly get to enjoy the fruits of our efforts. So today I have the items that I will need to cook with. I have 1 egg, flour, baking soda and baking powder. I have milk, which I've put some vinegar in to curdle it a little bit, adds a little extra flavor. Vanilla, butter, sugar, and some overripe bananas. You do want the bananas to be overripe. You want to have more brown than you do yellow. The browner the better. They're softer, they're sweeter, and they mash up better in your batter. I will be using a muffin tin today, which I've put cupcake liners in. It makes it easier for when we are pulling the muffins out, easier to serve and prepare. I have my bowl. I like to use a silicone spatula. It's easier for scraping and cooking. And then I have some fancy oven gloves. I really like them. They are my favorite, and it helps prevent burns to my hands, and they are grippy, so it makes it easier to pull things out of the oven. You also want to have some kind of a towel with you, because inevitably we do spill things. So it's important to be prepared and ready. So I will go ahead and start. We want to mix up the dry ingredients. This is the baking powder, baking soda, and flour. Just kind of mix them up a little bit. And then that sits, and then we start with the wet ingredients, and you add the dry to the wet. So I will crack an egg into the bowl, and you want to mix that with your butter and your sugar, and you want to kind of mix it really well so it's kind of this buttery, liquidy cream. It will be well mixed up. The butter should be melted, not hot, just melted. It's important that it's not too hot. If it's too hot, it might cook the egg a little bit, and then you will have to start over in your recipe. So we're just going to keep creaming this up, making it really nice and well blended. You don't want any lumps. It's important that everything is well mixed in as we move towards this process. I will go ahead and add my vanilla. I will be sharing the recipe so you can see the quantities of the ingredients that I'm using. I just really want to show how easy it is to create something that's fun and exciting. Next we will add the milk, and you'll mix that up. As you can see, it's kind of a smooth, it's smoothing out, it's getting a little bit more liquidy. There's going to be some water in the bananas because they're overripe, and so that will continue to blend in. It's important that you get this well mixed before you enter or place the flour into the ingredients, because otherwise you might end up with some lumps. So we will go ahead and peel the bananas and mash them and put them in. Doesn't have to be pretty. You can just kind of plop them in there, and you will use your spatula to mix it up. Just peel them, get all of the skin off, just kind of dump them in there. As you can see, these bananas are pretty soft. And I need my rag, wipe my hands because I have bananas on them. So then I will just go ahead and start mushing the bananas in there. You're going to have some banana lumps, you'll get a good flavor. Feel free when you're creating things. I like to tell my family, cooking is an art, it is not a science. So we can be creative, we can try new things, we can experiment. If you want chocolate, you can put chocolate in there. If you want nuts, you can put nuts in there. You can put powdered chocolate, you could put lumps of chocolate. If you're using nuts, walnuts and pecans taste delicious in there. But be creative. I've made some really wonderful things and I've made some really awful things. But what I really enjoy of all is the opportunity to just kind of do something creative and fun. It just really helps give me something fun and engaging to do. Now we'll start adding the flour. When you add the flour, you want to add it about a healthy tablespoon at a time. Just kind of put it in there, and you want to mix it up. You don't want to beat this too hard, because if you beat it too hard, it'll make the muffins texture a little bit chewy, not as light and fluffy. So just keep doing that. It takes a few minutes, and when you're mixing it in, just try and make sure you keep mushing the bananas down, and it will come together nicely. Sometimes the bananas and all of the liquids aren't as juicy as I like them to be, and so I do end up adding just a little more milk, but it really just depends on the recipe and then the ingredients. Some bananas are a little bit larger, some are a little bit smaller, so really it depends. As with the eggs add some of that texture in order to get this nice. This is coming out quite well so far, and I'm pleased with the results. Just keep stirring. Don't forget to scrape the sides of the bowl. You don't want flour on the sides. It's okay to turn the bowl. It makes it a little bit easier to continue to scrape. In the end, when you are close to adding this to the muffin pan, what you can do is just kind of take a look and see if you need to add any other liquids. And if you do, I would recommend only adding about a tablespoon at a time. Any more than that, you run the risk of making it too runny, and if it's too runny, they might not set up well. But I am really very pleased this is coming out pretty nicely today. Now I'm almost to the end of the bowl, so when I get towards the end of the bowl, I tend to dump in the rest, because it's really just about a tablespoon or so. And when I do that, that's when I know I'm ready to get it into the muffin pans, and I will show you how to do that. I try to not use too many items in the kitchen, so I will just use my silicone spatula. A wooden spoon works well too. I try not to use plastic too much. It doesn't seem to have the same ability to blend and mix things together. So I really like the silicone, and I also like wooden spoons. I just feel like the silicone spoon does a really great job of mixing this up. So once this is all mixed up, we will add it to the muffin pins. Okay, now that the batter is nicely blended, it is time to add it to the muffin tins. I like to take my spatula, not too much, you don't want it to drip off too much, and I like to just fill the tins. Muffins in the oven. I baked them on 350 for approximately 20 minutes. You can bake muffins typically for 20 to 25 minutes, and you do want to preheat the oven. Typically I turn on the oven when I start to make the batter. That way it does warm up to the appropriate temperature prior to baking. To test if they're done in the end, you want to put a toothpick into the muffins. Make sure that it comes out clean. Sometimes it doesn't come out clean, and I'll cook them for a few more minutes. Typically, I'll cook them for a minute or two at a time before testing again. Once they're done, let them cool so they're not hot. They'll be warm, and then you can pop them out, place them on to a cooling rack, and then when they're on the cooling rack, you're going to want to let them sit there for maybe another 10 minutes These are nice and warm, and they feel really good. So I'm just so happy that I finished making my muffins. I want to taste them and see how they are. So they're a little warm, they're a little soft, but let's just see how they are. Delicious. Now I get to enjoy the fruits of my creative activity today. I wish you all the best, and I hope you enjoy making banana muffins as much as I do. Thank you.